Boom, better late than ever. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's I, the Reluctant Gringo, back again from south of the border. And first things first, gotta apologize. Today is the day in which they have this huge parade here where I'm staying. It's sponsored by Coca-Cola. I mean, when I say huge, I saw it last year, and I didn't want to go see it again this year. It attracts just tons and tons and tons of people, just thousands of people. They shut down basically the major thoroughfares of the city to have this big parade of lights and bands and all this stuff. And it attracts all sorts of cars and trucks and everything. So you're going to hear that because it's just edited and people are just still scattering. You're going to hear large trucks, cars, because you know what? You can't soundproof concrete walls that well. I do my best, but I try. So anyways, just apologize you hear about a bunch of that stuff as it comes and goes. And, but yeah, we'll work our way through it. It is what it is. It's city life, baby. City life. All right. Just my chair. Got my lights. I got my stocking. I got my Santa hat. I'm ready to go. Man, it's flying. December 4th already. Going to be December 5th tomorrow, a couple hours. Man, oh man. Just flying by, you know? Man, Halloween to Thanksgiving took a little while, but once Thanksgiving hit, just boom. Man, I got to do some Christmas shopping. I haven't done any. No, I haven't done any. Little Earl Grey tea here. Why? Because it's cold. It's cold again. It's another cold night. So lots to talk about. You know, it's been a busy kind of news cycle for a bunch of stuff in pop culture we're going to really get to. And some silly things, some things that would be like, okay, well, kind of beat that dead horse to death. But last night we watched Skeleton Crew. I did a quick review, about 15 minutes, just thoughts, non-spoiler. And I get it, there's some people out there who hate it. It's a kid show. I liked it. So you can check that out. You can check out episode 12 of the Late Night with the Gringo, talk about that. I had one real big criticism of the show, and that was it. But other than that, I thought it's a kid show. It's Star Wars. I think they did what they needed to do. You know, it certainly wasn't as bad. It certainly wasn't the Acolyte, that's for sure. Certainly wasn't that. I mean, it was no Mando season 1 or season 2. You know, that's more adult. But you know, I think they had an idea what they wanted to do. They did it. And yeah, but check that out. That's in the playlist there for episode 12. This is of course episode 13, and real proud of that. Just kind of trucking along, and I learned that people are like, well, you get on, and you know, there's one person watching. Sometimes there's 10 people watching. Sometimes there's 50 people watching. Right? You know, it takes time to grow a channel, and I get that, and you just keep doing it. That's how you do it. I mean, if I wasn't doing it, I'd never grow, right? I look at it that way. I had somebody ask me like, hey, you know, is it hard? You know, I had someone commenting on it. Is it hard? Is it tough to do this? It's not easy. There's a lot of work, a lot of details. You miss a lot of details. You learn along the way, especially if you're me, you know, not technically savvy with every piece of software out there. You cobble together what you can cobble together with the wires everywhere. Because if I turned my camera on, you saw like the octopus of wires, the entanglement, the spiderweb of wires going from microphone to camera to computer to iPad to everywhere else. You'd be like, what fire hazard is this? So, but let's get into it. Let's talk about some news. I got a lot of different articles, so just bear with me again. It's just me. We're going to transition to share my screen, and we'll be there in a second. And, oh yeah, we're going to start out with the fun one first. Because apparently, I got a new person to play with in Mexico. Yeah. The United States sending me the crazy. Take her back. Britney Spears reveals she moved to Mexico to escape incredibly cruel paparazzi. Now, I'm not sure. The article doesn't tell you what part of Mexico she moved to. I mean, sure enough, it's not northern Mexico where you don't go if you don't belong there. You just don't go. So, you know, probably in some ritzy, luxurious place. She can afford it. She can afford the security. I don't think she's in Mexico City because, you know, if she wants to be left alone, she's complaining about people taking her picture and following her everywhere. Mexico City's not the place to go. I don't think she's in one of the smaller cities like I am, Guadalajara or Puebla or Querétaro or anything like that. She's probably on the coast near the beach or somewhere. But she's out of her mind because she posted a TikTok. Now I was going to play it, but I'm not going to play the TikTok just because I don't want to get like copyright or anything like that. But there's her Instagram story. There she is, right there. But we've got quotes. Because the treatment has been extremely mean and cruel, Spears revealed. That's why I moved to Mexico. Now she also said because it's also her birthday. And she means, like, when you watch it, she says it very seriously. Because it's her birthday, I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5 years old. And I have, actually, she speaks like, I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5. And that's how she says it. And I have to go to kindergarten tomorrow. And then she drops a bunch of F-bombs and stuff like that. Oh yeah, here's more. So being here, now this is what set her off. So being here in Maui is pretty crazy now. The pops know where I am, and it's really not fun. Okay, it's pretty hard going anywhere because these silly faces keep popping up to take my picture. But not only do they take my picture, they distort my body and mess with the image, and it's embarrassing. I know my body is not perfect, but I definitely do not look like how they portray me. It's rude. It's mean. So pops kindly F you and F off. The post was coupled with Lily Allen's song F you. So United States, thanks for the gift that keeps on giving, which would be Britney Spears and that circus. I'm sure Mexico's really pleased to get that import. Oh, dear God. What are you doing to me? So, I mean, no offense. I am a Gen Xer. I mean, when I was a Gen Xer growing up in music, I was more of a rock and roll grunge guy, Seattle guy. That was the same time that she was around. I wasn't really into her music. Still not into her music. But she's a Gen X icon, but I didn't want her here. But thanks. I just wanted to say to the United States, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the U.S. who helped make this happen, to send that craziness here. Awesome. Beautiful. All right. Some other fun stuff. We're going to get to Creature Commandos, by the way, in a little bit. Read a nice article and interview with James Gunn on that. That premieres tomorrow. But I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. But more importantly, my kids are huge. They grew up in the time of Harry Potter. So, the books, the movies, it was a big deal. And I think this is pretty cool. So the Harry Potter series that's in the works for HBO TV series, Ralph Fiennes, or Ralph Fiennes, however you want to pronounce it, is all in favor of Cillian Murphy taking over the Harry Potter villain, Lord Voldemort. I know you're not supposed to speak his name. I think this is awesome casting. I think it's awesome. Cillian Murphy is just a great actor, Oscar-winning actor. I can't think of anything that he's done where I'm like, oh, that didn't do it for me. I just think he's just wonderful in every role he plays. And to see him play that character and to have Ralph Fiennes kind of, give the okay and say, yeah, that's awesome. I think we can handle. And it's always great when you get that kind of transition. You get I remember a story, Ben Affleck, for all the Ben Affleck fans out there. Hey, I'm from Boston. He's from Boston. Go screw if you don't like it. When he took over the role of Jack Ryan, when he did The Summer of All Fears, he actually called up Alec Baldwin, he called up Harrison Ford, and he got their blessing. Not necessarily their permission, but their blessing to do the role, because he knows that, like, okay, this role, they made, first of all, that's the role that made Alec Baldwin famous, Hunt for Red October, and of course Harrison Ford knocked it out of the park with Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games, two great espionage political thrillers. So Ben Affleck called up and said, hey, I would like your blessing. Is it, do you think I'm going to do this role justice? Do you think I'm going to do this role well? And they said, yeah, sure. So I think it's great when you got an actor who's going to pass on that role in that way. So this is very positive news for the Harry Potter series. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's 2026 is supposed to come out. Now, there is some critical, some casting news that wasn't met very kindly. But we'll get to that in a second. Here we go. This is your new Snape. This is your new Severus Snape. HBO circling, and I'm going to butcher this poor man's name, and I apologize for it. Payapa Ezadu for Severus Snape role in Harry Potter TV show. And you can already imagine what people are going to say. When I saw the article, I'm like, okay, there's going to be some backlash about this. Now, HBO has said they want diversity to be a part of the show. I think my thing's not working anymore. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. I think we got a problem with our stuff. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Didn't notice that. Again, I'm just a one-man band here. Ah, there we go. Maybe that's it. Technical difficulties. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. Nope. All right, we're going to wing it. Back to me. So, anyways. So get that all screwed up. So we talk. So I can already see what is going to be the problem with some people looking at that and saying, okay, it's not the Severus Snape they know. I get that, but what are you going to do? You know, I don't know him from anything. And I don't know him from whatever he's been doing. And I'm talking while I try to fix the screen capture. You probably hear me typing away. Let's see here. Yeah, of course we want to display cap. Yeah, of course. Yes. Okay. All right. And you know what? Let's play around with it. Let us play around with this. Hold on one second. On the fly IT support by myself. I'm only human, folks. What can I say? I am only human. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what that does. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, this is fun. Okay. We're going to try this one more time. Let's try this screen capture one more time. Let's lock that. Transition that. Okay, well, there's our news. We had our news down. Boom. Let's see here. All right. So I don't know this actor from anything. You'll see me playing around there with that. Boom. All right, we got it back in business. You know what? That's fun. And yes, I know it's covering all my stuff. It is what it is. It is. We're going to kind of screw around with it later. But I have no idea. Maybe he'll do a good job. Maybe he won't. I don't know. Let's see here. The late Alan Rickman, who can't give any... see, HBO's interested in casting I May Destroy You's Papa as it. Okay. Again, don't know him for nothing. Mark Strong's going to be in this, or Mark Rylance will also be considered for the role of Dumbledore. So, very cool. Again, very, very cool. What can you say? So that is our Harry Potter news. Got screwed up there a little bit, but it's okay. Bum, 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 bum. And we'll just transition back here. We're going to say, hey, we're going to make this a little different. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that's better. That's better. That's much better right there. Oh, yeah. On the fly. Got to be proud of myself. Okay. So we've touched on Harry Potter. We've touched on Britney Spears. Little Earl Grey here to settle the nerves. A little sad news in the gaming world. Kind of saw this one coming. Here we go. Ubisoft, who, man, they've had a shitty year. You think about it. Star Wars Outlaws, probably one of the biggest flops of the year. I mean, that next to Concord. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So those are all flops. But, I mean, Star Wars Outlaws is probably the biggest flop. They put out Skull and Bones. Y'all know I love Skull and Bones. But I have to say, Season 4 has come around, and you watch my live streams, and I'll tell you, it's glitchy as hell. Glitchy as hell. Sometimes you're in a battle, and your weapons don't work because it's glitchy. Sometimes your ship just goes out of control. It just sinks, and It acts like a submarine in the water. So you have no control over it. So Ubisoft is lost a lot of money, and they've had to lay off a lot of people. And so I'm sure the workforce is stretched so thin that quality control is getting lost. And that's just a vicious cycle. And they got to come to a part where they stop laying off people and focus on making things that are quality, making things that are profitable. But here we go. X-Defiant, which is their free-to-play shooter, is being shut down. Nearly 300 employees laid off as San Francisco and Osaka game studios close. So Ubisoft is closing their San Francisco studios and their Osaka, Japan studios. Big deal for this company that has lost a lot of money. So Ubisoft will be shutting down the free-to-play first-person shooter game X-Defiant in the new year. As a result of the decision to cancel the game, the video game company will be moving half of its employees that work on X-Defiant into other worlds within Ubisoft. So hopefully they put them into Skull and Bones. Hopefully they put them into... I don't know. I bought Star Wars Outlaws and I couldn't get a refund because I didn't play. I played it for like an hour. I did a review and I said this is terrible. I mean, it was so bad. I was just, you know what? As a Star Wars fan, as a video game fan, I still have it. Are they still even doing updates for that thing? I mean, I think they got rid of some of the stealth stuff. Some of that was really annoying people, but it's certainly no one's buying it. I don't think anyone's buying it. So hopefully they move some quality control for Skull and Bones or some other games. Let's see here. They're closing the San Francisco and Osaka production studios and reducing the size of its Sydney outpost as well. So 143 employees are being laid off from San Francisco office. 134 people are likely to be cut in Osaka and Sydney combined. In Osaka, we're losing Osaka. The end of X-Defiant comes a tough time for Ubisoft, which delayed the release of its much-anticipated Assassin. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one, too. Man, they looked at this game that was getting all this backlash for... Listen, you want to make a Japanese samurai warrior African-American, that's fine. It didn't happen. There's no historical record of it. It didn't happen. But you want to make that a fantasy game, that's fine. It's cool. But if you're going to make it the first game that is Japanese culture-based... You might not want to insult the Japanese culturally by making, you want to maybe say, hey, Japanese, we want to make a game that maybe honors the toughest, most heroic, most, sensational samurai warrior that's ever lived. And maybe we can go through the history books and find something to do that. So, I mean, just from minute one, when they started putting that crap out, they could tell it was going to fail. So they pulled it back. It'll be released, I think, in February. Its weak launch and mixed critical response for Star Wars Outlaws had the publisher reconsidering the final product before it was brought to market. So they got, read the X-Defiant. I'm fortunately here today, and that's it. I don't think anybody really read this or cared. So this is the release. This is just like, I'm sorry, and this is what we're doing. Shake up the genre, blah, blah, blah. Wow, he goes on and on and on with the utmost. Listen. A game no one wanted to play, a game just, the Ubisoft, here's the problem. Ubisoft has a lot of bad press. They have a lot of bad energy with the fan base, with the general audiences out there. So anything that says Ubisoft on it, people are going to be like, I don't know. Again, I like Skull and Bones. I'll play Skull and Bones later on tonight and I'll stream it. Right? But it's getting frustrating. It's getting frustrating to want to play that game again, just because of when a game is unplayable, you're like, it makes it a little difficult, right? And so then with everything else, it'll be so. I don't think Assassin's Creed. I don't know what they're going to do to make that one profitable or make that one sellable, because right now it's toxic. Right now it's radioactive. No one wants to buy that unless you're a gamer that wants to do reviews. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game in my life. It's a franchise I skipped, so I can't speak on the franchise of itself. Let me correct that. I played a Black Flag Assassin's Creed when my kid got it because he was into pirates, so I just played around with that one for a little bit. I know that and Skull and Bones have been compared back and forth. Don't care. All right. So I can't speak about Assassin's Creed with any type of real credibility because I've never played any of those games. Now I could probably stream them all. Maybe they're fun. I don't know. I'm sure they are. They're sure they had the moment. But this next one is going to have a tough time finding an audience. So Ubisoft, their stock price is just friggin' plummeted. Their profitability is plummeted. They're shedding workers. Are we seeing the death spiral of a studio that's just going to get bought, maybe bought out by a bigger studio somewhere down the road? I'm sure they're looking for buyers. If I'm the CEO of Ubisoft, I'm trying to save my golden parachute and find a buyer, get a few million in my coffers for the old retirement fund, and kind of walk away. It's funny when you become a CEO, you can fail upwards. It's kind of funny. You get fired, you still get millions. It's amazing. But neither here nor there. So, but let me know if anybody's played this X Defiant. I don't play too many shooter games. I try to stay away from them. Why? Because I suck at it. I'm old man gaming. I did a few live streams with my son when he was here over the summer, and he's all into Call of Duty, and we play stuff. Oh, we play Star Wars Battlefront. I like that, but the shooting, I can do the space battles fine, but if get me on and I have to shoot, it's silly. It's ridiculous. It's laughable. It's comical. It's so bad. I'm pathetic. It's just not a skill I have. I don't have that tool in the toolbox. I've tried. It ain't happening. So I try to stay away from those things because when it gets and plus you go on live, go into groups of people who are like playing live. I don't want to be the guy that everybody's like, oh, this guy sucks, and just get all the hate. I hate getting all the hate. That's why I stick to more RPGs like DC Universe Online. I played that for a while. Skull and Bones. I'm really good at that and things like that. So that's why I stick to that stuff. All right. So that's video game news. Let's see what else we got. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, we're going to get to her. We're going to get to her in a little bit. We'll get to her in a little bit. Oh, she's fun. Miss Rachel Zegler. She's fun. We got DC news. We got a lot of DC news. A lot of DC news. So we'll get to Creature Commandos in a second, but we got to say farewell to the CW DC universe. For what it was worth, it was there. It had its moments. Don't say it didn't have its moments, because it did. All right. Granted, I'm a big fan of Gotham, that series. I liked that series a lot, and that's not part of the CW universe. It was Fox. But Arrow seasons 1 and 2, even season 3, I really enjoyed. Flash seasons 1 and 2, really enjoyed. Got a little wonky after that in both those shows, and maybe they overstayed their welcome. But looks like after Superman and Lois and that finale, that is the end of the CW universe, right? It's over, and that's 12 years, and they get some numbers here, right? So let me remind you of the CW universe. I'm going to get to the list of titled shows. Okay. Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, didn't watch it. Some people liked it, okay. Legends of Tomorrow, gave it a shot. First 5 or 6 episodes of the first season. I said, no, thank you. It wasn't hooking me. Black Lightning, didn't watch it. Didn't want to watch it. Batwoman, it was more fun watching YouTube videos making fun of Batwoman than watching Batwoman. I mean, that was woke at its best right there. That was woke at its greatest heights. Stargirl, I seen a couple episodes. Okay, didn't get into it. Superman and Lois, Gotham Knights, Naomi. So all this by Berlanti. So yeah, it's over. It's done. 12 years combined. So the combined number, 46 seasons total of 10 series. The Flash had 9 seasons. Arrow had 8. Those are the longest runs. I like these numbers. Here we go. 817,797 combined episodes of all the 10 shows put together. Wow. 699 number of episodes among the 6 core Arrowverse series. Okay. They got the multi-series. They have a bunch of just kind of stats for this. 12 years and 53 days that the CW had a DC series on its roster dating from the premiere of Arrow on October 10th, 2012, and I remember that, to the ending of Superman and Lois on December 2nd. So it had a run. I mean, it made a mark. It definitely made a mark. I'll admit, I still go back and watch some of the old Arrow shows. I still go back and watch some of the old Flash shows on Netflix when they're on. I was thinking about getting back into Legend Tomorrow, giving another shot, because I like the guy who plays Leonard Snart, their Captain Cold. I think that guy's great in that role. I think it's funny. I think it's probably the best thing about that whole group. Brandon Ruth as out of the Superman role and into the Atom. So I think it's worth, you pick a series. I think if you're going to pick a series, you pick Arrow, you pick Green, you pick Arrow, you pick Flash, you pick maybe Legends of Tomorrow. If you want to get a little entry point into this thing and they start streaming and you want to do that, that's where I start. I don't think I'd go down a rabbit hole. I don't think Batwoman is ever going to be anything more than what it is, which is very, very forgettable. I mean, that is just a stain on DC. I can't say anything. I didn't watch the other shows. I didn't want to. They never made me want to watch those shows. But there it is. 12 years of DC on TV done. Now you got to get to Max and do that. So speaking of that, so as one thing ends, another begins. The James Gunn era is about to begin, and it begins tomorrow. And yes, I am excited to watch this. Creature Commandos is a soft intro to the new DC universe, says James Gunn. We can make something that's violent and sexual. Okay, well, it's definitely an adult cartoon. You've seen a trailer. It's violence, it's gore, it's got a lot, right? And the interview goes on, and I read through the interview. The interview goes on, and he hadn't been made the head of DC Studios yet. They just come to him and said, listen, Peacemaker, that's great. Can you give us something else? So he kind of on the fly in like a couple days wrote up the scripts and the idea for Creature Commandos for this anime. And they said, yeah, sure. They greenlit it. And then they said, hey, by the way, you want to be the head of DC Studios. So there's been a lot of talk about is this really the way to start off the DC Studios, Jim? Well, they already had it in production before he became the head. All right. James Gunn has got a lot of criticism out there by a lot of fans. I get it. I'm cool with that. That's fine. But, call a spade, and this is what it is. They had already put this thing into production before he became the head. So I'm looking forward to it. You got a bunch of characters here. So definitely you got the Weasel, you got Dr. Phosphorus, you got, that's Rick Flag's father. That's General Flag. You got the Bride, you got G.I. Bot, or G.I., yeah, I think it's G.I. Bot. And I forget the name of the girl on the other end there, the fish lady. But yeah, this is going to be very violent. It's going to be very, I guess there's nudity. I guess there's sex in this thing as a cartoon. Okay. If just be forewarned, it's very, very adult. Here we go. Working in animation also afforded Gunn the freedom to make the show as violent and as sexual as anything he's ever made in live action. For example, Dr. Phosphorus, voiced by Alan Tudyk, thinks nothing of using his radioactive skin to melt the face off of his enemies, and multiple characters disrobe for bouts of enthusiastic intercourse. Not just regular intercourse, enthusiastic. Talking those teenage years, baby, all right? But Gunn cautions that this kind of frisky boundary pushing won't be a part of every DC Studios project, unless this thing does huge numbers and DC Studios is going to be like, put it in everything. One of the main things I want to establish is that you can do anything at DC Studios. He says we can make complete family fare. We can make something that's for general audiences like Superman. We can make something that's violent and sexual like this, which I didn't think was that violent and sexual. Peacemaker is both more violent and more sexual. Okay, which it was. But I want every project to have its own voice. It isn't about creating a world in which everything is all about sex and violence. It's about creating a world in which we can tell the story about, one type of character in different genres. So, yeah. So I know there's early reviews out. I'm avoiding the early reviews. I don't want it to be spoiled because you guys know I'm a huge DC fan. I have one of my playlists with almost 100 videos. It's almost all DC comic book recaps, right? So I'm a huge DC fan. I love Marvel, but I'm a DC guy. You got to pick one or the other. I'm going DC. So I'm excited to see this, excited to watch this tomorrow when it comes out and talk about it and maybe do a review, and maybe I'll do a formal review and a stream. But yeah. And then the villain, Cersei, very underused villain in DC Universe. What I loved about DC Universe Online, the video game, is they took the Holy Trinity of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and they said, okay, you can pick one of those two to be your mentors, or if you want the villain side, you can have the Joker, Lex Luthor, or Cersei. And I think it was a great way to reintroduce Cersei to a general, like this is like 15 years ago. And I think they really did a lot of focus on the whole magic aspect in that game. And if you go back and look at it, there's a whole magic section for it. So really excited to see how they use Cersei and Clayface, who I know everybody says, who's your favorite Batman villain? People are like, the Joker. Everybody says the Joker. I love the Joker. But everybody loves the Joker. He's the greatest villain ever created in all of everything. Really everything. I mean, there's the Joker, there's Darth Vader, there's Richard III from Shakespeare, there's iconic villains from every genre, and the Joker might be the greatest of all of them. In my opinion, if you ask me who the greatest villain ever created was the Joker. So it's hard to say he's my favorite because he's everybody's favorite. But I love Clayface. Love Clayface. I think Clayface is such an underutilized villain in the movies, which I wish they would do something with him in the movies. I mean, I was surprised he didn't get a turn in the, after Keaton left and he had Joel Schumacher come in. The Schumacher, he would have fit right in with that kind of cartooniness. But I really, really hope they do something with Clayface, and that this inclusion of Clayface in this series, in this animated series, is going to have some connection. So, General Flagg there, who's, again, his son, Colonel Rick Flagg, who was killed by Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad. He's going to play a prominent role in Peacemaker Season 2. And the Justice League from Peacemaker Season 1, that's been called non-canon. So basically Peacemaker Season 1, kind of half of it's non-canon, half of it is. They kind of have to kind of work their way around those kinks, those corners. But the fact that Clayface is in this animated series makes me think, oh boy, are they getting ready to maybe put Clayface in the next Batman, the next Matt Reeves, or maybe the next Batman General, instead of just the Elsewhere world or Elsewhere universe, they call it, the standalones, to include him in that. And I love also the Weasel. Gotta love the Weasel. Weasel is so much fun. Have him in it. So there's so much that you can do, and so much that you can go off of. But this is going to be the beginning, and I think it's going to do well. It's 7 episodes. It's going to premiere tomorrow. I think 1 or 2 episodes drops tomorrow, and then it's going to be 1 episode every week until like the middle of January. And yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait for Peacemaker Season 2. I really enjoyed Peacemaker Season 1. I thought that was great. I thought that was fantastic. I can't wait for Peacemaker Season 2. It really surprised me. John Cena surprised me with how far he went with some of that stuff. And some of those jokes and some of those lines. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. I thought it was irreverent. It was off color. It was violent. It was over the top. I thought it was just, again, comic booky. It was great. So DC getting ready to have some fun here. I'm going to unleash this tomorrow. All right. Bing. Talked about him. Oh, boy, Disney. Wouldn't be a day without Disney, right? And Disney's having such a good end of the year. They had a good summer. They had a good end of the year. They have to be so frightened about February and March because they're having such a good time. They're having such a good year that if you own Disney stock, your dividend was increased 33% today. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. 33% is a big deal. That's one of the bigger dividend increases I've ever seen. So obviously they feel financially in a really, really good position. I think they're going to get smacked. I haven't covered Captain America 4 too much just because it's just, I think I said it when if you're going to say Captain America, this Captain America for me is Chris Evans. The Falcon is the Falcon. In the comic books, he had a cup of coffee. That's the time he spent being Captain America in the comics, right? Should have gone to Bucky. I think that would have made more sense. I think the fans would have enjoyed that a little bit more. I think they were more invested in the character of Bucky Barnes, especially because Bucky came from the same era as Steve Rogers, same value system, same thing. And plus that series, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was terrible. That was just a terrible, terrible beginning to introduce the Falcon as Captain America in that sort of identity politics world. again, if you like that kind of thing, good, but most people didn't, and it's not a fondly remembered show. It really isn't. It's actually a very memed and mocked show that's out there, so didn't do well. And then, of course, that's February. Then in March, we've got Rachel Zegler in Snow White. And I don't want to get copyright strike, so I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but Jesus. I mean, honestly, this looks like it was done by backgrounds by motion array, which is what I would use to do a background on a thumbnail. That's what this, this is just, it looks terrible. It looks so fake. It looks AI. It looks like cheap AI. Remember, this is a movie that cost $400 million at least to make. That's not including marketing. Oh my God. But you get to the real nightmare fuel. And again, I know some places are playing it because they don't care about the copyright strike. I don't want a copyright. I don't need that kind of headache in my life. Okay. Oh dear God, there it is. There he is. Don't be sneezy. This is nightmare fuel. That is just, I don't know what to tell you. That is terrible. That is just awful looking thing. And Peter Dinklage, I never really had anything against the guy. I always thought he was a good, decent actor. But for him to come to Disney and say, don't make it with dwarfs. Well, Disney said, we're going to make it with dwarfs because the first thing they did with the diverse bandits or whatever they called them, the diversity bandits, that didn't fly over very well. So they made the dwarves CGI because Peter Dinklage said using real dwarfs or real little people would be insultive. And again, I've said this before, it probably wouldn't have been that insultive to the 7 people getting Disney money to be in a movie. I probably think you could find 7 dwarves who are also actors that would have loved that Disney paycheck. And Peter Dinklage, pressured Disney not to do that. I think that was terrible. And now you end up with this. You end up with this. Oh my God, it's so awful. Like, you don't even know, is that his hair? Is that his beard? What is that? Is that a scarf? Is he wearing a scarf? What is that? Is it a wool top? I don't know. It's just, I don't know where the money went. It surely isn't on screen. Wicked was an expensive movie. But you can tell, you can see the money spent on screen when you watch Wicked. I don't see it here. I certainly don't see it here. And, oh, by the way, Snow White is supposed to be prettier than the Queen. Now, you could have hired somebody who maybe, was not the ultimate Israeli supermodel. So this is Snow White. And there's the probably, what can we say, the most well-known Israeli supermodel ever to come across the planet. So you got to make your movie believable. This unibrow, whatever. This whatever. Oh, she's such an awful person in real life that you look at her and that's all you think. So, she's going to ruin a movie. She's already ruined a movie. Gal Gadot, she's very, you hear her speak, Gadot, however you want to pronounce her name. You hear her speak, whether it's about politics, whether it's about humanity, she's all about empathy and compassion. You hear this person, Rachel Zegler, speak, and, she wishes that people who don't think like her never know peace. People like who voted for the Orange Man never know peace. May you never know peace is what she said. She also said if you didn't vote blue, to unfollow her and not go see any of her movies because she doesn't need your business. And I think that's, and then told everybody to F off. That's not Snow White. I'm sorry. I think if Walt Disney was alive, he'd be like, that's what you're going to, that's what I think of. Like, if Walt Disney was alive, Snow White, the animated movie that made it possible for Disney to be Disney. This is what you're going to. This is the person that you're going to put in that role. I think Walt Disney would have been like, "What in the hell?" But yeah, it is. It is. It just doesn't look good. The movie this looks like, again, as if I went on to, if you don't know, Motion Array, or those websites where you can get backgrounds and things for cheap animators like myself who need a quick thumbnail or need to do something that looks neat for YouTube, right? That's what this looks like. That's what this looks like to me. Unbelievable. I mean, they got her hair right, I guess. I just don't. Comes to life. It's musical, of course. It's the apple. Look at it. It just doesn't. It's supposed to be live action. They could just say it's not live action. It's all CGI. That's all it is CGI. People in front of a green screen. So I don't think this movie's going to do well. I think what I said is, Snow White's trailer shows the biggest problem of its CGI character setting. I mean, even the mainstream Screen Rant, which is usually really, really Disney friendly, is basically warning this film is going to have problems. This film is going to have major problems. And if we go back to our news setting, wish it away. Will a live action Snow White be a new low for Disney? So that's a lot of money to piss away. Now, you can't see the downvotes. You can if you got a special driver built into your computer, into your software. Now, the downvotes for the trailer on Disney's official trailer website had something like 18. Last time I looked, this was about earlier today. Last time I was able to see some up down votes. It had 19,000 likes, and it had something like 300,000, almost 300, just under 300,000 dislikes or downvotes. And that's off of 4.5 million views. So, oh yeah, by the way, they're also saying review bombing. Well, good, review bomb. You know what? This is the first time I say, yeah, go ahead, review bomb this thing. To anybody out there, let's review bomb this thing, because you know what? Rachel Zegler, she hates your guts. She's an awful person. She don't deserve it. Review bomb it. It's the only time I'm ever going to say that about a film. I would never say that about anything else. But this film doesn't deserve. Like I said, you don't get you don't get a pass when you get that vitriolic towards people because they don't think the way you want to think, or you think you're better than them. I mean, just the day of celebrity is over. It's over. That power is over. We all witnessed that. Let this be the next lesson in that. And this movie's going to go the way of, I think, this is going to be next year's Madam Web. This is going to be next year's Argyle. This is going to be next year's The Marvels. Remember those? It was only about 11 months ago those came out. Only about 11 months ago. And, they lost a lot of money for a lot of people. I love Earl Grey. If I'm not drinking coffee, it's Earl Grey. Lots of sugar, lots of cream. So, anyways. Bing, bang, boom, 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 boom. Here I am again. So yeah, it's been a fun day. It's been interesting and fun. I'm thinking about getting, I told my kid wants me to get the Pokemon card game. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I used to play Pokemon Go, and then it became everywhere I went. It's like, oh, let me catch a Pokemon. It's just because, oh, I'm in a church. Let me catch that. I'm like, oh, let me do this. I don't know if I can get obsessed with the Pokemon. Plus, they get the Indiana Jones game coming out. And I've seen a trailer. I may get it for PlayStation 5. I like Indiana Jones. I'm so nervous. After Star Wars came out, after Star Wars Outlaws, I'm so nervous to spend money on a game. Just to review it. I'm so nervous. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I think this one's called. First time they've ever had a game like this large, just based on Indiana Jones. Just, I don't want to get burned. I want to get burned again just to make a YouTube video, just to make content. Sometimes you got to draw the line somewhere, and that might be it. That might be it. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, damn. So, gotta tell you. Oh, there is a couple of things I wanted to go over. I found really interesting. I kind of saved these. All right. So this is a little bit more serious. So I've seen those have you guys seen the commercials in the last couple of months where it's like Android? Now you can Android and iPhone, they can text and they have that issue fixed. You don't need to encrypt it or anything like that, right? Whatever they were saying about it, right? They were talking about how they're more meshed, right? They're not, folks. They're not. I'm going to read this. This is from Forbes magazine. This is the headline. FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, yes, that FBI, warns iPhone and Android users, stop sending texts. The FBI is telling you, stop texting. Stop it. Timing is everything. Just as Apple's adoption of RCS has seemed to signal a return to text messaging versus the unstoppable growth of WhatsApp, then along comes a surprising new hurdle to stop that in its tracks. While messaging Android to Android or iPhone to iPhone is secure, messaging from one to the other is not. Yikes. Now even the FBI and the CISA Communications, the U.S. Cyber Defense Agency, that's what that is, are warning Americans to use responsibly encrypted messaging and phone calls where they can. The backdrop of all this is that the Chinese hacking of U.S. networks that is reportedly, quote, ongoing and likely larger in scale than previously understood. Basically, China has all our phone calls, emails, and text messages, folks. They have, like when you're texting your mother, if you're sending a little text to your mother, hey, Mom, happy Thanksgiving, love you. Somebody in China is reading that and going, hey, the guy loves his mother. All right. Whatever you're sending dick pics, some guy in China is looking at your dick pics. If it's not iPhone or Android or Android. So that's right. China has all our stuff. That's okay. The United States has all your stuff too. Fully encrypted comms is the best defense against this compromise. The Americans are being urged to use that wherever possible. The network cyber attacks are attributed to Salt Typhoon. That's the name. This is the name of the group associated with China's Ministry of Public Security and has generated heightened concern as to the vulnerabilities within critical U.S. communication networks. The reality is different. Without fully end-to-end encrypted messaging and calls, there has always been a potential for content to be intercepted. That's the entire reason the likes of Apple, Google, and Meta advise its use, highlighting the fact that even they can't see content. Yep. So basically, China's listening. China's reading your text messages. Everything. Wow. Okay, here we go. Just looking for this. In terms of what is known about the Salt Typhoon attacks thus far, while the FBI official warned that widespread call and text metadata was stolen in the attack, expansive call and text content was not. How do we know? But, quote, the actors compromised private communications of a limited number of individuals who were primarily involved in the government or political activities. Well, that's the only people they're checking. They're not checking you and I, folks. They could care less. The government isn't trying to encrypt our stuff. Right? It could care less what I'm doing. If someone's stealing my stuff, they could care less. This would have contained call and text contents. The Americans should use encrypted apps for all their communication. So yeah, protect yourselves out there, folks. That's crazy. The FBI coming out saying, please stop texting. You can't get people to stop texting or whatever they're doing. And, I mean, there's a million ways that we all communicate. There's no way you're going to get people to stop doing that stuff. It's just what they're going to do. It's just what they're going to do. It's just how we live now. It's just part of our life. I mean, I know the new administration is thinking about banning TikTok or doing something about TikTok. How are you going to do that? There's one, I forgot the country. I can't remember the country, but it was just a few days ago. They said if you're under 16, the law is that you can only be online for 30 minutes or on social media for 30 minutes a day. Like literally to shut it all down. You do that in the United States, you're gonna have a riot. People are gonna riot. People are gonna lose their minds. I don't think you can. Basic economically, people who suggest that they're like, well, the kids are being poisoned and this one. Think of that you social media gets pared down or shut down. Think of how much business is now conducted through social media. I mean, I haven't seen a good study. I've seen all the studies about the effects it has on people, the effects it has on kids, the effects it has on teenagers. I get all that. That's fine. We can have a conversation about that. Maybe it's not about, hey, don't limit my social media because bad parents. Right? That's not my problem. All right. I'd like to see the study what would be the economic impact of curtailing social media access to certain groups. I would like to see the economic impact of limiting internet access to certain groups, because kids, teenagers, they spend money. They spend a lot of money. They when I was in retail, teenagers, they had disposable incomes. That's what we called it. Disposable incomes. We loved teenagers coming in and shop. People like, oh, you must, as a manager, like, you must hate it when like groups of teenagers come in. Hell no. No, come on in. They got mommy and daddy's disposable income. Come on in. The register would ring and it'd be music to my ears. And sometimes they make a mess, but that's everybody makes a mess. Teenagers make no more of a mess in a store than adults now. They don't steal any more than adults either. People are like, well, teenagers, don't they rip you off shop? No, that's the adults. It's the adults. I mean, yeah, you lose the occasional lipstick or bottle of nail polish out of the cosmetics department. Most shoplifted items are cosmetics, single cosmetics. But most of the time, kids come in, they got all of this disposable income, spend it, and I'm sure they're spending it online too. I'm sure they're spending a ton of money, but no one's made that study yet, or no one's made that study public yet. And I think once you see that, see the amount of money that would be lost by, and I'd like to see, and it'd be great, this country that did it, maybe you can study them if they have a similar kind of consumerism culture as the United States, and see what that would be, because I think there would be a huge impact. I mean, everything's marketed through social media now. Everything's marketed through influencers. Everything's marketed through online personalities and things like that. I would think it would be billions. Most startups happen through social media. It's the free advertising that they can get by just making a video and popping it online. All of that. I think you start thinking about the domino effect. Okay, we talked about sales, online sales. Now we can talk about online advertising going away and having companies having to pay advertising dollars out of their bottom line. Okay, that's cutting into their profits. That's cutting their ability to hire. That's cutting their, again, all the dominoes that fall with that. So while I get the altruistic feeling of wanting to protect young children from social media and the brain rot and the lack of development, that's all parenting. How old were my kids when they first got a phone? They begged me for a phone. I can't think of it. They were in there. They definitely weren't like 7, 8. I've seen like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds walk around with their own phone, on iPads. Mine were definitely teenagers. They were never allowed on social media. Not until they were, I think, 17 did we allow, I think, one of them to get on Instagram, because his friends were on Instagram. He wanted to be on his Instagram with his friends. I said, okay, But I don't think they've ever had a Twitter account. They didn't have a Facebook, anything like that. I think they just have an Instagram account just to communicate with friends and post pictures, and that's it. And it turned out real normal. Let me tell you. So that's a parental choice, and it takes discipline to say no, to curb it and watch what they're doing and say, hey, how much time are you spending online? So this whole idea, I again, and maybe this is just part of a bigger picture where I fall, is that if there's a problem in society, you don't limit everyone's rights to fix that problem. You go, what's the root cause of the problem? And the root cause of the problem is just bad parenting. Lack of parenting, lack of oversight, lack of judgment. Maybe, just that. And you get there from there. Anyways. So I found that very, very interesting that we went from the FBI telling us not to text to curbing the use of social media. But anyways. So that's it. That's what I got from you. It's been a wonderful day. Wonderful evening. Again, sorry about the loud noises outside. Again, there was a parade and thousands of people were lining the streets and they needed to bring their cars. So the Coca-Cola Christmas parade is what it is. With that, I will be back. Actually, I'm probably going to stream a little video games later on tonight, so I'll probably be doing that. But I'll be back again tomorrow night, same time, and continue to grow this channel, continue to grow an audience. And if you want to see previous episodes of Late Night with the Gringo, they are posted on the stream. They are posted on the playlist on the channel. So be real appreciative if you like, subscribe, share these out. Send me a message if you want. Glad to hear from you. As always, I thank you for watching. I'm still your reluctant Gringo from somewhere south of the border. And since it's December, salud a huevo and feliz Navidad. We're going to get on out of here.